You're listening to the views expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hey, folks, this is the Free America Radio Network. This is the views expressed right here for the 8th of August, 2014. How y'all doing today? Are you good? Because, hey, it's Friday. So what do you expect? Right? Anyway. Hey! You got something to say to me? Say it. Go ahead. Email me. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook if you want to email me there as well. It's okay. I'm always open to hear from people. So, cool. Email me. Let me know. Got questions, comments, concerns, even if you disagree with me. Yes, I may get a little defensive, but if you present it in the right way, I won't. So please, email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. It's Friday. It's just a whole lot of stuff going on. And let me go here first, because it is from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Obama calls for airstrikes against ISIS in Iraq. ISIS is now being bombed. ISIS calls for strikes against the U.S. Could this be the war the elite have been waiting on? Midterm BS, quote-unquote, elections. In November, economy is tanking, and all the so-called scandals to distract us from. It could very well be what they have been waiting for. War equals profit for the elite. ISIS and Hamas equals problem, reaction, solution. Here we go. So, so what do you think? Really? Hang on just a sec. So what do you think? You think it's going to get that bad? You think that ISIS and Hamas have the technological advantage to be able to fly over here and bomb us? Well, in the last several weeks or so, Russia crossed the airspace in America, in California and Alaska and all that. So does Hamas have the ability to do that? I don't know, and I will tell you I don't know, because I don't know. Do they? Huh, interesting. So, here we are. We're waiting patiently with bated breath for World War III. But you see, in contrast to the other world wars that we had, this one's not going to involve our allies. Oh no. We're on our own, folks. Okay? You're not going to have another country come to our rescue. We are on our own. So, if this whole thing blows up in our face, well, I'll just say, told you so. So, sit back, relax, enjoy. I'll be back right after this little break. So, you want to email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. You're listening to the views expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hey folks, this is the Free America Radio Network. You're listening to the views expressed right here on the 8th of August, 2014. How are you? You good? Because you wake up every day, you put your feet on the floor, you go to work, you take care of your family. You're good, right? All right? Yeah, sure. Okay. You're cool. Right on. Yeah. Uh-huh. I do want to make it known right now that let's just say, the powers that be in Washington, D.C. have no idea what they're doing. None. Zero. Zip. Zilch. Nada. From thedailycaller.com, we will raise the flag of Allah in the White House. ISIS threatens America. Well, I think a Moab would do that. Would solve that problem really quick, wouldn't it? WesternJournalism.com, the Border Patrol agent just exposed what pro-amnesty politicians desperately want to hide. That's a video you might want to check out. Also, I mentioned this on a podcast earlier today. From Breitbart.com, Sarah Palin gives conservative response to Elizabeth Warren's progressive commandments. So you might want to go check that out as well. Also from William Matthews on Facebook. Yeah, you might want to check that one out too. Just scroll on down, you'll find it. People against the NDAA. Do you know what the NDAA is? The National Defense Authorization Act. I mentioned this yesterday, but it's good to highlight it because people need to know about this. That in December 31st, 2011, Barack Obama signed the NDAA. Section 1021 of this act allows for the president to detain anyone he wants, for any reason he wants, without a trial, without a lawyer, without ever seeing any family member again, to be held anywhere in the world indefinitely. Okay. Now, try to lighten it up today. I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of headlines. Those are just some of them. But I want folks to realize that we are not the country. If you're under 30 years old, you will know what I'm about to say. You'll understand what I'm about to say. This is not the country we grew up in. Okay? This is not the country we grew up in. And I'm going to say that because I'm over 30. Okay. And I remember being able to learn everything I needed to learn to help me get from one, specifically in school, to get from one grade to another. And I remember that. I remember trying to take shortcuts. I remember that. I also remember that just about the middle of high school years, I knew that I would have to take things such as Western civilization, things like that in my history class to get my credit to get out of school. I knew this. And that was about the time I started looking into all of what was going on, because I had a very odd feeling about everything. Even at that time. Carter was president. People began to ramp up their presidential campaigns at the time. And I knew something was different. So I checked it out. And what I had found out, what I understood throughout the years since then, that everything I felt was wrong about this country back in the late 70s was verified to be exactly correct when I began to do my research, even later on in life. I cannot tell you how elated I felt, how happy, how I can't describe that feeling of, yes, I questioned it, I researched it, verified it, and went, aha, I was right. But I wasn't able to tell that to anybody else around me at that time because nobody really cared. Nobody really cared. And so, here we are in 2014, and I'm looking back on all that information going, I knew it, and I was right. Little things, little pieces of the puzzle fell right into place. Boom. And there you go. Now, I heard of people telling me back in the mid to late 70s, oh, there's a shadow government running things behind the scenes. And we really don't have any rights. And I got to tell you, that is what helped me get into learning more about everything else that was going on behind the scenes. I knew from the textbooks, from the history textbooks, by the time I became a senior in high school, I started reading those books long time prior to that. And I knew that everything was a lie. I knew that the spin masters that put those textbooks together were lying through their teeth, or more accurately, omitting the truth. They would add a few things in there, but then they would omit certain things. So I knew this. And now here it is, 2014. And I got to tell you, it makes me feel really good knowing that I was right. Was I right about everything? No, there were certain things that I thought, maybe that seems odd. Let me go check it out. And then I was going, well, I was wrong. No big deal. It's okay. It's all right to be wrong. Now, I mentioned this on a previous broadcast. School district prepares to track students' social media activity. Quote, I know there are some who worry about the intrusiveness of this, unquote. Well, yes. Let me put this back at the top of Free America Radio. Okay? Let me put this back at the top because it is, well, as a matter of fact, I won't do that. You just go to Free America Radio on Facebook, scroll on down, you'll see it. Now, just a few minutes ago, I said that the Russian military have, well, let's just say, crossed our borders. Freebeacon.com, Russian strategic bombers conduct more than 16 incursions of U.S. air defense zones. Yeah. How's that? I don't want people to think of me as a fearmonger or a conspiracy theorist because all I'm doing is giving you my opinions on these news stories, but adding to it the information that I have gotten over the years about certain things. And showing you the difference between the state-run media spin and the actual truth of the matter. Okay? So anyway, let's do this, shall we? You can stay there on Free America Radio on Facebook, but I am going to go to drudgereport.com. Now, I don't know why. I don't know how to ask this question, but I'm going to ask this anyway. Why do people insist that when they hear stuff that I'm saying or Alex Jones or you know, whoever, when they hear these things being said, why don't they just admit that they don't know, and you know that the people that hear this stuff, they don't know, and stop trying to spin it to their own benefit? I have an idea to answer that question. It's probably because of sheer fear of accepting anything that is truthful and honest and factual. That's just an observation, folks. I could be terribly wrong, but I don't think I am. If you think I am, Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Breitbart.com. Ebola could cross unsecured U.S. border. Ebola could break into the United States through the unsecured U.S. border with Mexico, experts say. Quote, while we've seen no signs that Ebola virus has spread to our borders, it is very concerning, unquote. Representative Randy Weber, Republican of Texas, told Breitbart News, quote, the border has still not been secure, and the president continues to wave the sign that our borders are open. There is no telling what might eventually make its way into the heartland, which should be concerning to all, unquote. Weber is a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee's subcommittee on Africa, global health, global human rights, and international organizations. That panel held a special hearing Thursday to examine the potential threat to the U.S. the African Ebola outbreak presents. During the hearing, Centers of Disease Control and Prevention Director Tom Frieden downplayed the possibility Ebola could break into the U.S. via the Mexican border, but did say that it is inevitable the U.S. would see some cases of the deadly virus, though there wouldn't be a massive outbreak. Quote, "It is certainly possible that we could have ill people in the U.S. who develop Ebola after having been exposed elsewhere," unquote, Frieden testified. Quote, "But we are confident that there will not be a large Ebola outbreak in the U.S., unquote. Well, first of all, how can he know that? It's a very good question. Continuing, however, Senate aide told Breitbart News Friday that Congress is monitoring the border for a potential Ebola outbreak. Quote, "Committee staff are in regular contact with CDC, Custom and Border Protection, and other agencies to monitor the Ebola virus outbreak in Western Africa," unquote, the Senate aide said. Quote, "Our porous southern border remains a major concern," unquote. I'm going to put this on the Free America Radio Facebook page for all of you to read the rest of that. There's more to that article. I cannot and will not put myself into a position to where I am going to say anything that may be misconstrued or someone may interpret it to be false information. This is why I put the rest of that story on Free America Radio on Facebook. Now, I seriously want to go here and tell you some financial stuff, because and to be honest with you, I don't really get into this because I'm not a financial guy. Okay, I don't know the ins and outs of the stock market, the trades, the I don't know any of that. Okay, don't know. All I know is that the money in my pocket has to go farther than it used to, and it doesn't. So there's a problem. Okay. It is important also to know that we are at the brink of a massive burst of an economic bubble, both still in the mortgages that we hold, and also in doctor bills that people owe, student loans that people owe, this kind of thing. There is a massive economic bubble. I say economic, and I use that as an umbrella to put all these other things under there as well. And it will, when it blows, say goodbye to the United States of America, because when we economically and politically collapse, we're done. Any financial analyst, Max Kaiser, people like that, will tell you the same thing. But I'm not a financial guy. I don't do finance. Okay. From LATimes.com, Fed survey, 40% of households show signs of financial stress. 4 out of 10 American households were straining financially 5 years after the Great Recession, many struggling with tight credit, education debt, and retirement issues, according to a new Federal Reserve survey of consumers. The Fed study shows that the economy has made progress to the point where a majority of U.S. households said they were, quote-unquote, living comfortably or doing okay financially. But almost 40% reported that their families were, quote-unquote, just getting by or struggling to do so. And more people reported that their financial situations was worse rather than better off compared to 5 years earlier. The survey was taken in September of 2013. Overall, the Fed's finding reported Thursday are consistent with many other studies and data depicting the deep and lingering effects of the 2007-2009 recession. The recovery has been slow and uneven, skewed toward the wealthy. Quote, It just shows that the recovery is not delivering for a huge chunk of Americans, unquote, said Heidi Shearer-Hulls, an economist at the liberal-leaning Economic Policy Institute. So I'm going to put this one up on Free America Radio on Facebook. Let you read the rest of it as well. The whole issue of finances basically boils down to personal responsibility. Now, honestly, I really don't know a lot about the overall financial structure of the U.S., except that usdebtclock.org shows that we're almost $18 trillion in debt, according to that. But the real numbers, from what I found out, are closer to $60 to $70 trillion. And that's not counting the fake money pulled out of the air derivatives that are said to be anywhere between $800 trillion to $2.5 quadrillion that you and I owe the government. See, Iceland signed on to the EU about 7 years ago. And the EU went, okay, now you owe us all this money. And they're going, no, we don't. So about a year after they signed up, some of their, well, let's just say their law enforcement went in there with the state, grabbed up all the corrupt politicians, kicked out the EU, told them to get the hell out, arrested all sorts of people, threw them in prison, collapsed their government on, basically just got rid of their previous constitution, rewrote a new one, and now the country is prospering. I think we need to take a page out of the book that the page that Iceland wrote, okay? We need to do this because should the United States collapse, we're all screwed, folks. Because guess what? 40% of households show signs of financial stress. Do you know why? Take part of that 40%, and it will show how the government has invested your tax money in other countries and did this thing called fractional reserve banking, and they got screwed in the process. Now we had to borrow money from other countries to be able to support this country. So there you go. I could totally be wrong in this, but I have a feeling I'm not. There's more on drudgereport.com. Get this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'll read it when I get back, but I'll give you the headline. From WashingtonTimes.com, State Department hires testimony coach to prepare for congressional grillings. Series of stumbles at hearings prompt for series of stumbles at hearings prompts $454,000 witness training contract. Oh, I'll get into that when I get back from the bottom of the hour break, folks. A coach, testimony coach, $554,000 of taxpayer money going for a what? What? Hires a testimony coach to prepare for congressional hearings. That's an awful lot of money to teach somebody how to lie. Isn't it? God. I don't know, man. I don't know. Interesting to say the least. I'll be back right after this. If you're into liberty and libertarian values, tune in to The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, at radiofreedom.us.
No elitist dribble, no media spin. Logic over emotion, fact over fiction. The home of independent conservative thought. The Conservative Voice with your host, Jeff Wagner, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
Around the planet on the World Wide Web.
The storm is on the horizon. The system of government that we currently have in this country is collapsing. We are on the brink of total disaster as a nation, a people, and a planet. Who or what can save us? Listen to The Views Expressed live, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, at freeamericaradio.us. Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. Yes. WashingtonTimes.com. I'll put this up on the Free America Radio Facebook page. You're going to get a kick out of this one, man, I'm telling you. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to the one and only Mr. Spencer Hughes over at spencerhughes.net. Go listen to his show on KSFO.com. The Spencer Hughes Show, 9 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific. Check it out. That's the Spencer Hughes Show on KSFO.com. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific. Check it out. Thank you. From Washington Times, State Department hires testimony coach to prepare for congressional grillings. Series of stumbles at hearings prompts $545,000 witness training contract. After suffering through a striking number of rough grillings at the hands of Congress, try Trey Gowdy, State Department officials have approved a contract worth up to $545,000 to help train themselves for how to brief lawmakers and to testify at hearings. The contract with Orlando, Florida-based AMTIS Incorporated includes classes entitled, quote, Communicating with Congress, Briefing and Testifying, unquote, and pays for one-on-one sessions to hold a mock hearing with questioners playing the role of lawmakers asking hard questions of the would-be witnesses. Over the last 2 years, department officials have stumbled through hearings on their handling of the 2012 terrorist attack in Benghazi, been berated for failing to be able to lay out a new legal framework for the war on terror, and seen one top campaign bundler for President Obama admit he'd never traveled to Argentina, the country he'd been nominated to serve in as U.S. ambassador. State Department officials did not respond to questions about the contract by deadline on Thursday. Leslie Page, spokeswoman for Citizens Against Government Waste, said if officials were doing their jobs correctly, the money wouldn't be needed. Quote, all they need to do is sit there with a microphone, read their testimony, and answer questions truthfully, honestly, and thoroughly, and explain to the American people what they're doing, unquote, Ms. Page said. Quote, it's not the Charlie Rose show, it's not The View, she said. It is congressional testimony, so just cough up the facts, because that's all we really need from you, unquote. Documents show the contract also includes a separate ambassadorial, is that a word? That's right there. seminar, quote, for building effective relationships with members of Congress and their staffers, unquote. The communicating with Congress class is supposed to be taught by individuals with current or recent Capitol Hill experience, and the simulated congressional hearings, which are to be recorded on video, have would-be witnesses delivering testimony before a panel of experts, quote, capable of appropriate questioning and criticism, unquote. Do you see anything wrong with that, folks? Do you see anything wrong with that? The classes are held under the State Department's Foreign Service Institute. Other topics taught under the contract include, quote, tips for leveraging State Bureau of Legislative Affairs, unquote, quote, training and skill building and briefing techniques, unquote, and, quote, building effective relationships, unquote. Some of the State Department's own current employees could offer lessons on how to survive a tough hearing. Back in February, the testimony of several ambassador appointees embarrassed the Obama administration, raising fresh questions about the long bipartisan practice of key political donors and allies being rewarded with diplomatic posts. Former Democratic Senator Max Baucus, who was appointed ambassador to China, testified, "I'm no real expert on China," unquote. Noah Bryson Mamet admitted that he never visited Argentina, though, quote, I've traveled pretty extensively around the world, unquote. The story goes on, so I'm going to put this up on Free America Radio, on Facebook, and it's right there on the top. There you go. I have a question for all my listeners, and I'm going to make this very, how can I put this? How can I put this? If you were in a position where you knew that your testimony was going to be plastered all over the place, and you were asked pointed questions about a situation that happened, I'm being very vague here because I'm not going to specify anything, how would you answer a question? If they came to you and said, sir, ma'am, we need your testimony on exactly what happened or what you heard happened, and who would you think would be better for us to talk to? If I was a congressman, that's what I would ask. But how would you answer the question? How would you answer the question if it was posed to you that you knew information that your bosses said not to let anyone else know, but you were in front of Congress under oath and they asked you about a tragic situation that you had knowledge of, but you were told not to say anything about? How would you handle that type of situation? Me? I'd be throwing people under the bus left and right, man. I'd tell my attorney, you give me amnesty, you give me, don't prosecute me or nothing, and I will give you names, places, dates, you name it, in private hearings. I wouldn't plaster it all over C-SPAN, that's for sure. I wouldn't go to CNN. Because I would do it because I want to survive. I would do it because I knew the right thing to do was to tell the truth and be honest. Or the other way around. I would do it because I knew it was the right thing to do. But how would you handle a situation like that? How would you handle situations that you knew could be detrimental to your political career, but you were told to shut up about them because if you said anything, your political career would be over? How would you handle that? This is why people on Capitol Hill are stabbing each other in the back. And you got people like Trey Gowdy, who is just going after everybody. Bloomberg.com, World War on Russia's mind when U.S. duels over Ukraine. Olga Tanis wrote about this. Thank you, Olga. From his perch as Vladimir Putin's advisor for building ties with fellow former Soviet republics, Sergei Glazyev perceives the world shifting to a war footing. There's a war raged against Russia with economic sanctions and military conflicts roiling Ukraine to Iraq, according to Glazyev, 53, an academician, I don't know, and a native of Ukraine who, for the past 2 years, has advised Putin on integration with Belarus and Kazakhstan. Putin struck back this week with a ban on U.S. and European food imports that may benefit the former Soviet allies. Setting the world ablaze in the U.S., where hawks are provoking a global conflict, quote, with the aim of establishing control not only in Europe but also in Russia, Ukraine, unquote, Glazyev said in an interview in Moscow on Staraya Ploshten, I guess, where the presidential staff has its headquarters. On his office's wall are a picture of Putin and an updated map of Russia that marks the annexed Crimea Peninsula as its territory. Remember, Puerto Rico is our territory. It's not a state yet, but they keep asking to be brought into the Union. We're going, Months of a slow boil of European and U.S. sanctions against Russia over Ukraine have done little more than harden a siege mentality in the Kremlin, thrusting controversial advisors like Glazyev to the forefront in Putin's showdown against erstwhile Cold War foes. With the country's richest businessmen shaken by the deepening rift, Glazyev's flair of provocation is needed to, quote, intimidate the elites, unquote, according to Mikhail Vinogradov, I guess, head of the St. Petersburg Politics Foundation. It's a long article, folks. So I'll read you this. Russia's answer. A retaliatory measure, quote, weren't our choice, but we don't leave an escalation of sanctions unanswered, unquote, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Grigory Garesin told the head of the European Union delegation in Moscow, according to a statement issued today. Glazyev, a Soviet-educated economist, has been sanctioned by both the EU and the U.S. for allegedly meddling in Ukraine's sovereign affairs. A former State Duma deputy and co-founder of the nationalist Rodina Party, he ran against Putin for president in 2004. In 1992-93, he was a minister of external economic relations and later served as a senior official at the Eurasian Economic Community and the Customs Union of Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. Last year, he was considered as a candidate to replace Sergei Ingitev, I think is what it is. I don't speak Russian. At the helm of Russia's central bank, according to Reuters. The job went to someone else, a former economy minister and aide to Putin. So now Putin's got all the money. I'm going to put this up on Free America Radio on Facebook so you can read the rest and possibly get those names correct because I'm not Russian. So anyway, really, the question is, who holds the purse over there? Who holds the checkbook? Well, right now it looks like Russia. So Ukraine is going to be suffering economically if Russia doesn't let go of a few rubles. You know? I think it's rubles. I don't know. But what is our involvement in the Ukraine? How much do we want to get involved? Because President Obama has totally disenfranchised, that's not the right word, totally pushed aside Israel and is continuing to poke the bear of Russia for no reason whatsoever. Because apparently he can do whatever he wants. Now, I really think and I'll put it to you this way because this is how I interpret it. I really, really think that Russia is going to be, as they are now and continuing to grow their relationship, is going to be a huge contributor to the Chinese government in terms of trade. Now, I don't know that for sure, but what I've seen so far, my interpretation of it is they're going to be a huge partner in whatever China does, considering that they're both communistic nations. I don't see there's any problem with that. But now, getting ecumenical on you here for a minute, theologians have mentioned the fact that Israel and the Middle East will have a problem, and there's going to be huge amounts of fighting over there, and guess who is coming from the north? China and Russia. In the millions. So I don't know if that biblical prophecy is right, but symbolically looking to be pretty accurate. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. Now, when you look at Russian President Vladimir Putin, you have to remember he's a very educated, very keen individual in terms of his sight of what is going on. His insight to what is going on is very, very good. And the advisors that we have over here are telling the administration, this is what's going to happen. If he continues doing this, this is what... And they're telling the regime what's happening, and Obama and his Muslim Brotherhood buddies are sitting around going, we don't care. We're going to take over America, hand it over to China, whoever, Muslim Brotherhood. We don't give a crap. We're just going to take all the money and run. You see, if you keep poking the bear, sooner or later you're going to get attacked. And that's not a good thing. Because I want to know, so send me your information at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com, that if Russia finally shuts the door on imports, exporting them from Russia, importing them into the United States, if Russia shuts that door, how will that economically affect the United States? How? I mean, as you can tell already, I mean, you can go to the store and you see prices going up all over the place. You know, when you walk into a Walmart in the United States, about 95%, I'll take it down a little bit, probably about 85% of all the products in there are made in China. Doesn't benefit the United States at all. Maybe indirectly that we borrow, money from, and we do borrow money from China. They own about 10%, if not more. I think the last figure I saw, it was like 12%. But they own a lot of our $18 trillion debt. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if China walked in here and said, you see that right there in Detroit? You see that in New York? You see that building right there? You see that 5-mile square area in that town? Yeah, we want that. We're just going to take it as collateral for all the money we've loaned you. I mean, China can do that. Not very easily, I might add, but they can do that. Japan has bought a lot of U.S. debt. Japan has bought a lot of U.S. real estate, too. Germany has bought some real estate here. China has got a lot of East Coast real estate. So, I mean, you have to understand financially, if you and I struggle every day, every month to pay our bills, at some point, we're not going to be able to when everything goes up. Take you back in history, you've probably seen the picture where there's two people, one's pushing a wheelbarrow full of German marks going to buy a loaf of bread. What the system is doing, and here's my point of all this, what the system is doing is devaluing our dollar. And it's so devalued now that it's your toilet paper in your bathroom is worth a hell of a lot more than the money you have in your pocket. So it is one of those things where, at this point financially, are you able to sustain yourself? Because obviously the United States isn't. And I'm not a financial guy, but that doesn't look good. Does your budget at your home reflect how much money you could lose if the country goes under? Well, if the country goes under, that means the banks are closed and blah, blah, blah. Everything fails. And then your money that you have in your bank is pretty much useless because it's worthless. But do you have in your home budget the possible end result if the government goes under? Oh, chances are it will. Chances are it will. Oh, and by the way, there's people investing in the stock market and in other things as well on the side of the collapse. And when it collapses, they make money. Oh, yeah. Go look it up. Now, coming up to the top of the hour break, I want to segue into this topic. And then when we come back, if I have time or if I don't finish the topic now, I'll get into it after the break. But the economics of this country is very, very important. And by allowing open borders, it is going the economy of the United States is going to suffer about fourfold in the negative. And you're going to watch that usdebtclock.org currently at, well, let's go take a look. Let's go take a look. $17,635 billion. Okay? If things continue the way they are, you can watch that amount jump 2 or 3 or 4-fold within a matter of months. Not years, months. And once that happens, you better lock your doors. You better if you take your money out of the bank, it's probably not going to be worth anything. So you're not going to be able to buy anything. Can you imagine? I mean, have you priced the gallon of milk recently? Imagine a gallon of milk being like $12 to $15. I mean, holy crap. Imagine a Hershey bar at $1.25 being like $3. Can you imagine that? It's just incredible. I don't think anybody can wrap their mind around that concept. But financially, this country is in the toilet. It's failing. And a lot of people are just sitting around going, well, you know, yeah, I don't want to hear it, people. Crunch the numbers. You will see it for yourself. No matter how much money you get on your check, it ain't going to buy a loaf of bread. Now, I'm not fear-mongering. Now, let me say this also. I'm speculating. I'm guessing that if trends currently continue the way they are, that this is what is going to be. And if this is the case, then I would say, I think it's time for a change, don't you? Take a little break. I'm going to take a break early. I'm going to come back, and after the top of the hour, it's a little lengthy break here, a little longer than normal. Come back, and then we'll finish up for this Friday, the 8th of August. We'll go from there. Hey, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please ask. Even if you disagree with me, if you want to show me some information, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Folks, you got to know this stuff. If you're too busy chomping down an ice cream sandwich and watching Honey Boo Boo, your head is up your ass, and you need to take it out quickly and figure out what you want to do right now. I'll be back right after this. With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on radiofreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free America Radio Network. Are you a filmmaker and want to make your epic feature film with no money, some money, and or all the money in the world? Listen to Christopher J. Taylor as he discusses everything you need to know about filmmaking and more on Film 101 on HTLA973.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Waking up the masses. Truth, knowledge, and wisdom for your consumption. Waking up the masses. News and views concerning the New World Order. Waking up the masses. Join Bob Brutus as he pulls back the curtain on the esoteric agenda which has been in play for a millennia. Waking up the masses. WakingUpTheMasses.com.
Thank you for joining us today on RadioKahuna.com. We so appreciate having you in. This is Steve from Clarinormal Talk Radio. I'm also here, one of the personalities on Radio Kahuna. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy having you people in. Thank you so very much. Hey, we're growing all over the planet by leaps and bounds. People from all over the planet are coming in and listening. But there's not enough. It's not enough. We need more. We're asking for your help. Tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. Tell 10 friends. Just tell them this. Tell them they'll get laid. Come on in. Enjoy the surf. The sets are fine. Steve from Clarinormal Talk Radio and Radio Kahuna. Thank you very much.
Dreams that you dream of.
Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
For all you independent artists, musicians, and filmmakers, there is a place for you. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com. Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
You're listening to the views expressed live on Waking Up the Masses Radio Network.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Ah, damn politicians. My mother always told me this country would be screwed if the liberals had their way. The only sanity I get is when I listen to Jeff Wagner on the Conservative Voice, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, and I want to tell you of a DVD that I have watched. It's a very interesting one. It's a film by Alex Jones. It's called Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. For the New World Order, a world government is just a beginning. Once in place, they can engage their plan to exterminate 80% of the world's population while enabling the quote-unquote elites to live forever with the aid of advanced technology. For the first time, crusading filmmaker Alex Jones reveals their secret plan for humanity's extermination. Operation Endgame. That's Endgame by Alex Jones. Get it at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. You're listening to The Views Expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network.
Me?
You're a citizen.
Yeah, but does it really matter?
Not anymore, unfortunately. Thank you.
You too.
I have major objections of what's going on over at the shelter there. My First and Fourth Amendment rights were violated. My civil rights were violated.
Well, have I heard that? Because Obama has decimated the friggin' Constitution. So I don't give a damn, because if he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to.
It's New Jersey case law.
Yes,
you don't have. Did you get that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you
He doesn't
get
have to follow the Constitution.
Because our president.
Can you say that one more time? I'm not sure I heard it clearly.
Obama has decimated the friggin' Constitution. So I don't give a damn, because if he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to.
It's New Jersey case law.
Yeah.
Just tell me that one more time so I completely understand what you just said.
Obama has decimated the friggin' Constitution. So I don't give a damn, because if he doesn't follow the Constitution, we don't have to.
You know, you're aware of your rights and everything like that. So, just talking about the property.
This is public property. This is owned by the municipality.
Okay, and there's something called defiant trespassing.
On public property?
You're going to the building.
That's public property as well.
Okay, sir, listen.
Why am I being banned from going in the building?
Explain to you. You don't want to talk? I'm not going to talk to you.
I just asked you a question. Can I have your badge number and your name, please?
You can read my name.
You could also spell it out for me, too.
My First and Fourth Amendment rights were violated.
Don't touch me. Either get out or you're going to get locked up.
Escort out.
Record it. Officer, please don't touch me.
You're being escorted out.
Thank you.
You guys are absolutely ridiculous.
Did you hear that? Yes, that is. That is. Oh, that New Jersey cop that said that Obama decimated the Constitution and all of that. Yeah, he resigned. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce on the 8th of August, 2014. This is the Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network. Yes. He resigned. Uh-huh. Cops, the law enforcement, there's no such thing as law enforcement anymore. Because that would imply that these cops are constitutional. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not saying the vast majority are not. I know that there are some constitutional sheriffs and law enforcement personnel out there, and they follow the Constitution to the letter. I applaud them. But there are jerk-offs like this that will do everything they can to rip the Constitution apart. Oh, Obama decimated the Constitution, so I don't give a damn, and we don't have to follow it. And really? Excuse me, yes you do. Prior to 1871, you either follow the Constitution or, like that New Jersey cop did, resign. Just walk away. Just put your gun and badge on your sergeant's desk, on your boss's desk, and just walk away. Because, well, also the Border Patrol. You heard that. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes, I am, but does that make any difference anymore? Nope. Does not make any difference whatsoever. And what can you consider being a citizen of the United States? How do you see yourself as a citizen of the United States of America? Apple pie eating, flag waving, hand over your heart type of person? Or someone who is going to look at people like that and say, oh, I don't like that. I've had people tell me to my face that we don't need religion in this country. I've had people tell me to my face that we need to get the 10 Commandments out of school, out of the courthouses, and we need to abolish the Second Amendment. Oh, but when you tell them about the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment, they say, oh yeah, we need those. You know, you can't testify against yourself, and you have to have a warrant for, searching your premises and everything else. Oh, yeah, they want that. But they don't want you to have free speech, freedom of religion, or your guns. These people are nothing more than communists. These are atheistic, boneheaded, dumbed down, stupid people that don't want you to have your rights. They'll pick and choose what rights you should have. Oh yeah, and that goes for your city council too. But my question that I want to ask all of my listeners is this. What are you going to do about your unconstitutional police officers in your city? Your unconstitutional sheriff officers? What are you going to do about them? Hey, Clark County, what are you going to do about Sheriff Douglas Gillespie? What are you going to do about these sheriffs that come on TV and lie about what happened to you? Pete Santilli was run off the road by a bunch of gangs, Latino gangs, drug cartel gangs, and the sheriff went on TV and said it never happened. Pete Santilli has video, audio, everything to back up what he's saying. At 4:30 in the morning in Texas, little town in New Mexico, little town in New Mexico, I believe it was. He gets a knock on his door at like 4 something in the morning. A citizens militia member is standing there saying, you got 10 minutes to pack your crap and get the hell out. There are drug cartel members all over this place, surrounding this place. There were people outside with Pete Santilli communicating to him that there were people on the other side of the parking lot, out other places near the hotel they were in, flicking their lights on and off. That was drug cartel people. Pete Santilli saw this himself as well. So don't tell me this crap is not happening. Because your unconstitutional sheriffs need to drop their guns and their badges on their boss's desk. You know who the boss is? The governor. Oh, by the way, the county sheriff can tell the governor where to go. But when it's an unconstitutional sheriff, the only other option that county has is for the citizens' militia to be the ultimate law enforcement in that county. They need to demand that unconstitutional sheriff resign immediately. And go to the governor and tell them, you either fire his ass or you demand that he resign. Sheriff is elected. Wonder how his political career is going to be after he's booted out of office. Now, let's move on to Free America Radio on Facebook. Well, let's not go there, but let's go here. Let's go to Fox News, shall we? Let's see what that state-run media outlet has to say. U.S. targets Iraq militants with drone strike, bombs in new air assault. Gaza crisis, Hamas backers spend dollars on terror as civilians suffer. Let me read those two. From Fox News in the political section. As soon as this... The U.S. military launched 2 more rounds of airstrikes Friday against Islamic militants in northern Iraq, taking out 2 mortar positions and 7-vehicle convoy. And a 7-vehicle convoy. That's a lot of... The Pentagon said that's a lot of people, folks. The strikes came just hours after American jet fighters struck an artillery site, the first military action in Iraq since President Obama authorized the use of force to protect U.S. personnel, as well as Iraqi civilians facing a possible quote-unquote genocide. Pentagon Press Secretary Rear Admiral John Kirby said U.S. launched the latest airstrikes to help defend the city of Erbil, where U.S. personnel, quote, assisting the government of Iraq. U.S. personnel are doing that. He said a drone struck a terrorist mortar position and was when Islamic militant fighters returned to the site moments later, quote, the terrorists were attacked again and successfully eliminated, unquote. I'm going to put this on the Free America Radio Facebook page for you to check out. Now, is that spin? Probably not. But you have to understand neuro-linguistic programming. The state-run media knows how to twist words and get all that. Again, from Fox News, Hamas backers spend fortunes on rockets and tunnels while Gazans live in misery. Haifa, Israel. The latest ceasefire between Israel and Hamas ended Friday morning when Hamas resumed its costly campaign of rocket attacks on Israel, even as its 2 million constituents suffer from wrenching poverty. Although the millions of Palestinians packed into a small strip suffer from chronic unemployment and lack of electricity and running water, Hamas and its backers, such as Qatar, have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on tunnels and rockets with one goal in mind: killing Israelis. Quote, when you look at what Hamas did with all of the cement and the materials that went into Gaza for building, for quote-unquote building. And you now see that most went into tunnels. You understand that from their point of view, the civilian side is not important, unquote. Retired Major General Yaakov Admior, former National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister of Israel and Director of Intelligence Analyst Division in Israel's Military Intelligence, told FoxNews.com. So far, Israel has destroyed some 32 terror tunnels, each one requiring the equivalent of 350 truckloads of building supplies, costing up to $3 million to create, according to the IDF. And 3,360 short and medium-range rockets have been fired at Israel by Hamas and other militant Islamist groups, likely costing millions more. Hamas's arsenal estimates suggest that they still retain a significant number of missiles, including homemade crude Qassam rockets, as well as longer-range, more sophisticated weapons such as the Iranian Grad and Fajar 5 and Syrian-made M302s. Hamas had scores of rocket launching sites, many placed in or close to schools, mosques, and hospitals, including missiles hidden in UNRWA schools on 3 separate occasions. Now, the UN is denying all of that, and some people are saying that some people, even the alternative media, are saying that's not true. Regional experts argue that Hamas's terror infrastructure shows the terrorist group elected to power in 2006 shows its economic policies place war on Israel above the welfare of its own people. Gaza's total gross domestic product is approximately $750 million, and although funding for attacks on Israel often comes from patrons like Iran, Turkey, and Qatar, true economic aid from Gaza's allies should be spent to better the lives of the Palestinians, experts say. So who's getting screwed out of all of this, people? Who's getting screwed out of all of this? Humanity. Quote, Hamas is the same movement that runs both the civilian and the military in Gaza, unquote. So, quote, so when the money is going to Hamas, it is going both for civilian and military purposes. There is no question that Qatar is the biggest funder of Hamas. In the past, it was more taxes from the tunnels that ran from the Sinai Peninsula that funded Hamas, but today there is no question that it is Qatar more than anyone else, unquote. In 2012, the former Emir of Qatar visited Gaza and made a donation of $400 million to Hamas, a donation the New York Times reported would go towards, quote, 2 housing complexes, rehabilitate 3 main roads, and create a prosthetics center, among other projects, unquote. Hamas appears to have diverted the funds to terror projects. The Qatari smokescreen of donating to quote-unquote civilian projects fools few people, Israeli officials say. In one of his final speeches last month before he stepped down as president of Israel, Shimon... when was this put up? Today. I don't know why they're putting this up, but listen to this. In one of his final speeches last month, before he stepped down as president of Israel, Shimon Peres also highlighted Qatar as the main financier of the Gaza regime. Wait a minute. Hold on there. Hold on. Time out. In one of his final speeches last month, oh my God, we caught Fox News lying. Lying through their teeth. Yes. Here, let me tell you something. Yeah. In one of his final speeches last month, before he stepped down as president of Israel, Shimon Peres also highlighted Qatar as the main financier of the Gaza regime. I had no idea I thought it was Benjamin Netanyahu that was president of Israel. The Jerusalem Post reported that Perez, quote, charged Qatar, saying that Qatar had no right to spend millions of petrol dollars to enable Hamas to build rockets and tunnels instead of developing Gaza, unquote. Meanwhile, the Palestinians who suffer under Hamas's governance can only watch as money that could have been spent to improve their lives is spent on rockets and tunnels now being systematically destroyed by the IDF. Quote, most of Gaza's civilians survive in substandard living conditions without the infrastructure to support basic sanitation, running water, and a sewer system, unquote, said Itamar Geldman, a former IDF Special Forces lieutenant and a U.S.-based security consultant. Quote, the unemployment rate is over 40%, and for the lucky ones who actually do work, they have to settle for an average salary of $16 a day, unquote. Geldman said instead of building terror tunnels, Hamas could have used the same money, equipment, and engineering to construct sewer and water treatment facilities, improve old infrastructure, build schools, and even create beachfront resorts. While its leaders live lavish lifestyles with luxurious villas on the Mediterranean shore, most Gazans sit and suffer as government workers go unpaid, and money that could have been used to improve many lives continues to be squandered on Hamas's pursuit of destroying Israel. Quote, only judging by their deeds you understand that there is no way that Qatari money went to civilian programs, unquote. Quote, the materials went for military purposes. Now, let's get back to this little thing here, shall we? Let me see how much time I got before the bottom of the hour. Well, come back from the bottom of the hour. This is a kind of an interesting little tidbit of information that I'm seeking now. This is very, very interesting. Shimon Peres is a Polish-born Israeli statesman. He was the ninth president of Israel from 2007 to 2014. Peres served twice as Prime Minister of Israel and twice as interim Prime Minister, and he was a member of the 12 cabinets in a political career spanning over 66 years. Peres was elected to the Knesset in November of 1959, and except for a 3-month-long hiatus in early 2006, served continuously until 2007 when he became president. He held several diplomatic and military positions during and directly after Israel's War of Independence. His first high-level government position was a Deputy Director of General Defense in 1952 and Director General from 1953 to 1959. During his career, he has represented 5 political parties in the Knesset, and goes there, and led Alignment and Labor. Peres won a 1994 Nobel Peace Prize together with Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat for the peace talks that he participated in as Israel foreign minister, producing the Oslo Accords. Yeah, interesting little tidbit of information there, isn't it? Yeah. Interesting. Interesting, is it not? I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong in him not being president and Benjamin Netanyahu being prime minister. I don't know. I don't know the structure over there, but it struck me as very odd that he had said something, his last thing or whatever. It just struck me odd is all. That's all. So I had to go look. Okay? So anyway. This is the oddest thing, folks. Really, really, really odd. We got a lot of this stuff going on. We have just a whole bunch of things that seem to, I don't know. I'm going to go to break. It's the bottom of the hour. I'll go collect my thoughts. I shall return right after this. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Hey folks, welcome back. This is the Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network. Holy crap, what's going on? God. I'm going to put this story up on the Free America Radio Facebook page. Let you read it. The facts are the facts. Okay? The facts are the facts, folks. How can a government like Israel put up with the crap they're putting up with? Well, there have been, I'm going to say there have been reports. I haven't verified them yet, but there have been reports that Israel is literally the terrorist organization, or the government is the terrorists in that region. Now whether or not they can, I don't know, just stop doing what they're doing, I don't know. I don't know. Now, how can, even when you look at our government, how can they be so heartless? Huh? How can they be so heartless? Here's something else, folks. I'm going to put this on Free America Radio Facebook page. And there's a video, when you click on the page, there's a video that comes up. You seriously have to pay attention to this, okay? Seriously. 13 illegal immigrants arrested in California wearing U.S. Marine uniforms. Border Patrol agents recently arrested 13 illegal immigrants disguised as U.S. Marines and riding in a fake military van, U.S. Customs and Border Protection said Tuesday. The illegal immigrants were clad in Marine uniforms when they were apprehended at Campo Border Patrol westbound I-8 checkpoint at 11 p.m. on March 14th near Pine Valley, California, border officials said. 2 U.S. citizens in the van were also arrested. After the suspicious white van was subjected to secondary inspection, it was determined that the driver of the vehicle and its front seat passenger were U.S. citizens who were attempting to smuggle 13 illegal immigrants into the United States. As for the vehicle's occupants, all of the vehicle's occupants wore U.S. Marine uniforms, reportedly emblazoned with the name Perez. Quote, "This effort is an example of the lengths smugglers will go to avoid detection and the skilled and the effective police work and vigilance displayed every day by Customs and Border Protection personnel," unquote, the agency said in a written statement. The van used in the smuggling attempt, according to the California's El Centro Border Intelligence Center, was a privately owned vehicle registered out of Yucca Valley, California, and was bearing stolen government plates that had been defaced. The center digit 0 was altered to read 8. Further research through multiple government agencies determined that the plate belonged to a 1-ton cargo van registered to the U.S. Marines. The military referred inquiries back to the Customs and Border Protection. The van entered into the United States via Mexicali, Mexico, and proceeded to Calexico, California, where the U.S. Marine uniforms were donned, according to Homeland Security Today. The Campo Border Station was constructed in June of 2008 and is located roughly 28 miles east of San Diego Sector Headquarters in rural East San Diego County. It is responsible for securing approximately 13.1 linear miles of the U.S.-Mexico border and 417 square miles of surrounding territory. An estimated 7,000 vehicles pass through its 2 checkpoints daily, according to its website. That is something to be concerned about, don't you think? That is something to be concerned about. I mean, we are living in the United States of America where we have a very porous border in our southern region. And anybody can come through. There have been Pakistanis, all sorts of people, terrorists, you name it, who basically learn how to speak Spanish, who give false last names, and they come into the United States because their connections are here in some major city somewhere. Same thing with the drug cartels. The drug cartels, you know them, MS-13 gangs, that kind of thing. They come across holding kids and they say, well, my family lives in Portland, Oregon, or whatever. No. Fact of the matter is, folks, they get in here illegally. They go all over the United States. They get into gangs. They bring in information. They, disguise themselves like these 13 did. And it's just the way it is. Okay? This is a major concern, and this is why I say close the freaking border, period. Close the freaking border. End of sentence, period. That's it. Done. Close it. Now. Close it. I don't give a crap what people say. Close the damn border. I said it yesterday and I'll continue to say it. Let's go down to southern Nevada and protect that border. That little space right there, okay? All right? Now, I'm going to go here. And if you want to go down to the southern border in Nevada, okay, what we can do is, well, basically, instead of telling you what we're going to do and putting it over the air, I'm going to say this. We're going to do what we have to do to protect the United States of America from enemies, foreign and domestic. Okay? That's all we're going to do. We're going to do it peacefully. We're going to do it methodically, making sure that we do the right thing. Okay? Now, a lot of people would say, well, you know, you can go down there and be as peaceful as you want to be, but these jackasses are going to try to kill you. Well, that is why we go armed. I don't like doing that, and I don't like saying that because I don't support, I don't condone violence in any way, shape, or form. But if we have to defend ourselves, then we have to defend ourselves. And we are going to do that. We are going to do that. Now, a lot of people might say, well, why do you want to go armed? Well, like I said, there's some jackasses coming through that want to come through, and they're going to stop at nothing to, you know, take somebody out because they want to be here. Okay? I want peace. I want freedom. I want security in this nation. I want to do everything we can in a peaceful manner to stop all of this bull crap that's going on from the border. But I'm not opposed to arming myself just in case. That's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. I look back in history and I look at some of the stories that I've read between, you know, the military back in the Civil War days or just shortly thereafter, or shortly before as well, where they communicated with the Native American Indians that were here. And they probably met up with them, but they were probably armed. And they showed that they, you know, here, I'm putting down my weapon. Okay, here it is, you know. But they didn't go unarmed. A sign of trust. That was then. Those numbskulls coming over the border illegally, they don't really care. So it's better to go armed just in case. Now, any of you who've been in the military and have been in, you know, the field know what I'm talking about. You don't go around just, you know, hey, I'm going to go over here and talk to these people unarmed. That's stupid. Okay? And you don't go alone. You always go 2 or 3. You military personnel know exactly what I'm talking about. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm ready, willing, and able. Somebody got a way down there, we can go down there. You got other people that want to go down to the southern border of Nevada, keep these jackasses out? Let's do it. If you're part of the Nevada Constitutional Militia, hey, Governor Brian Sandoval. We'll protect the border for free. We'll take our own MREs and food and shelter. You don't have to spend a dime, but you better back us up. Now, like I said before, I'm for immigration. Legal immigration. Okay? Legal. You go through the right channels, you go through the right checkpoints, you go through all of that, and you do it legally. But you see, it's a Cloward and Piven strategy where they're now just overwhelming the system. And guess what? They're doing a pretty damn good job at it, don't you think? Well, now it's time for the American people to step up and say no. We need to defend this country against enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'm going to say this. We need to do what we can. If these people coming over the border are sick and need medical help, we need to get them the medical help that we can. Whatever it is we need to do, because they're humans. They're part of humanity. They're part of our group called humanity. And we need to do everything we can to make sure they're well. But they don't stay here. You go do the right thing. You do it the right way. You get into the United States properly and legally. And with this jackass in the White House just opening up the border and saying, hey, come on in. That's the dumbest thing he's ever done. Oh, wait, no, that's second to the dumbest thing he's ever done. The dumbest thing he's ever done was December 31st, 2011, by signing the NDAA into law. It's time, folks, and I don't know how much more we're going to have to deal with before you people wake up. I don't know. I don't know. I always tell you, if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be that time when you people get the door slammed in your face enough and realize, oh, somebody doesn't want me to go into that room. I don't know what it's going to take or how long it's going to be before somebody pulls the proverbial rug out from under your feet and you do a face plant in the concrete. I don't know what it's going to take. You tell me. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Damn, I got a few minutes here. Let's go to I'm typing away like a fiend here. Let's go to abc.go.com, abcnews.go.com. Let's go to politics. Joni Ernst, from obscure legislature to whatever. Yeah, okay. Hey, how's this? Mr. Lurch himself, why John Kerry made a secret trip to Afghanistan. As the clock ticks towards a major conference in which NATO leaders will make decisions about commitments to Afghanistan, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry announced at the end of the surprise visit there that the two remaining presidential candidates have smoothed out disagreements that had delayed the process of picking a new leader. The two hopefuls, Ashraf Ghani and Abdullah, have about 3 weeks before the NATO conference in Wales to agree on the formation of a national unity government, while at the same time waiting for the results of an audit of all 8 million votes from a disputed June runoff election. Speaking to reporters after his meetings with the candidates today, Kerry expressed optimism that the two men will accomplish the ambitious task before them. Quote, both candidates have defined a road to a unity government, unquote. He said, quote, they will begin now to meet together and map out that transition ahead, unquote. I will put this up on Free America Radio on Facebook. Got a few more minutes here. Let's go to NBCnews.com. How's that? I was typing away here. Now, I'm going to say this. The Middle East is completely and utterly broken. 5 Palestinians killed as Israeli-Hamas truce collapses. 5 Palestinians were killed in the Gaza Strip Friday as a 3-day truce between Israel and Hamas collapsed into new violence. More than 30 people were also wounded, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. The Israeli army, meanwhile, said that 61 rockets were fired by Hamas militants at Israel, injuring 2 Israelis who were hit by shrapnel, while the military attacked 70 targets in Gaza. The eruption of fighting shattered a brief calm in the month-long series of attacks and counterattacks, and dealt a near-fatal blow to Egyptian-led efforts to secure a long-term ceasefire between the bitter enemies. A team of Palestinian negotiators remained in Cairo in hopes to salvaging the talks, but participants said the negotiations were not going well, and Israel said it would not negotiate under fire. The Palestinian delegation met again late Friday with Egyptian mediators. More than 1,900 Gazans have been killed, roughly 3/4 of them civilians, according to Palestinian and UN officials. Israel has lost 64 soldiers in the combat. 3 Israeli citizens have been killed. I'm going to put this up on the Free America Radio Facebook page. And you can take a look at that as well. Let me be totally honest with you, folks. Not that I haven't been so far, but let me be totally honest with you. I'm just saying if the Middle East breaks down, from what I've seen so far, from my perspective, if the Middle East, and I'm talking Israel, the Palestinian people, not only them, but Iran and Iraq, and not only them, Saudi Arabia and Turkey and all of that area over there. If all of that breaks down and collapses in that region, do you know the economic and political ramifications that will have on the United States? I can't even imagine what it would be. I can't even imagine. I just don't know. I can't imagine what it would be. Because you got oil reserves over there, you've got a lot of things. There's a lot of commerce over there that comes over here that we take part of. So if that whole area, that whole region collapses, can you even imagine how that will affect us? Pastor Lindsey Williams talked about $5 a gallon gasoline a couple of years ago. Said it was going to happen in April of 2000, not April, but he said it was going to happen sometime in 2014. Never did, got close, but never did. Several analysts had said that the economy in America would collapse by April of 2013. Never did. Or by the summer. Why? I can say this. One of two things. First, the alternative independent media knows what's going on. They report it as it is. They tell the truth. They rip apart all the lies, and they show you exactly what's going on. Free America Radio Network, sharing the truth one fact at a time. That caused the system and the controllers of the system to say, oh, we got our hand caught in a cookie jar. We can't do that now. So what do they do to try to justify what they were going to do, but they got caught? Well, how about this little thing called war? Okay? So now they're trying to push this Israeli-Palestinian war on us, trying to rally the people together to do something. Well, we've woken up to their bullcrap. We're not going to put up with it anymore. We're done with war. How about if the generals that have been ordered to go to fire on these people over in other countries, why don't they turn their tanks around, drive it down Pennsylvania Avenue and point their cannons at the White House? Not that that will ever happen, and I don't wish that to happen, but I'm sure there is a general somewhere thinking, you know what? I don't want that to happen. Period. I don't want that to happen, just in case the NSA is listening. I don't want that to happen. Because if Washington, D.C. breaks down and collapses and implodes upon itself politically, we're still going to be okay. Because each and every single state in the Union has their own system of government. They have the 3 branches. They have the infrastructure. The 50 states or 50 countries, under this Constitution that we have prior to 1871, and we've come together under that. Okay? And a lot of people say, well, if we just get rid of Washington, D.C., everything will be fine. No, I don't think so. The immediate problems that the United States would have after Washington, D.C. collapses is going to be absolutely devastating politically and economically for about a year or a year and a half. So no, generals, don't point your cannons at the White House, okay? Because we still need somebody in our house, the White House, the people's house, to bring this country, rebuild this country, and restore this country to the magnificent country it was prior to 1871. Okay? We cannot allow this country to suffer anymore under the hands of a ruling party or parties that all they want to do is collapse this country to turn it into a socialist country to bring it into the North American Union. We the people will not put up with that. We the people have the power. We are America, as I say at the end of the show here in about a minute and a half. We know what we're doing. These people in Washington, D.C. that we thought would do what we want when we voted them into office, they know absolutely nothing. They are totally and absolutely clueless. I don't care who they are. We are the ones that can run this country a hell of a lot better than they can. Seriously. So let's do what we can peacefully. Let's do what we can logically, legally, and do what we must to restore and rebuild the United States of America, of, by, and for you and I, we the people. That's what we need to do, folks. Come join me on Monday on the Views Expressed Live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Free America Radio Network. The Views Expressed Live, right here, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, on Free America Radio Network, freeamericaradio.us. We the people have the power, for we are America.